Hi everyone, we're going to do a review of the GEARWRENCH half-inch digital torque wrench. This one in particular is model 85077. GEARWRENCH has another model of this half-inch torque wrench, which is the 85079, and the difference with this is that it has a flex head instead of a fixed head, and the default unit is in foot-pounds instead of newton meters, though it also has the ability to show you 5 different types of units. With that in mind, the price difference this I bought on sale for about $215 Canadian, and I believe the next model, 85079 with the flex head, runs you another 100 or 150 Canadian, and those are the two main differences. So the GEARWRENCH half-inch model 85077 torque wrench has got a black rubberized grip. It has, this maybe looks yellow in the video, but it's kind of a yellowish orange plastic molding here. It's got the display panel here. It has the speaker for the beeping, red LED light. It's got the LCD display, the unit button, got the power button, up and down. You can set the percentage, I'll get into that afterwards, as well as setting the torque setting. Moving on up, the rest of the torque wrench is polished chrome with the GEARWRENCH logo at the top, as well as a forward and reverse switch. To power it on, you gotta hold down the power button for a few seconds, then it'll turn on. As you can see, I defaulted it to foot-pounds, and so it keeps that in the memory setting. You can press, the first button is unit, so you can see foot-pounds. You can cycle through the various units, newton meters, back to foot-pounds. The power button to turn it off, you gotta hold it down for a few seconds as well. Turn it back on. And, okay, so the percentage, what this is there are 3 ways that the torque wrench notifies you that you're nearing the torque spec that you set it for. The first one is you're gonna hear it beep. So it'll make beeping sounds, and then when you hit the torque spec, it'll kind of make a flatline beeping sound. The LED will flash as you near the torque spec, and then it'll go solid. And then the last thing is the handle itself will vibrate when you hit the torque spec that you were looking for. So the percentage here is kind of a cool feature. What it is I've set it to 8%. So like what that means is at 8% of the spec that I set it for, it's going to begin to notify. So let's say you set this for 100 foot-pounds. 8% is 8, so at 92 foot-pounds is when it's going to begin notifying you that you're nearing the torque spec that you set. So it's all relative. So if you set it for 100 foot-pounds, right, then 8% is 8 foot-pounds. If you set it for 150 foot-pounds, 8% is 12 foot-pounds. If you set it for 50 foot-pounds, 8% is 4 foot-pounds. So it's all relative. The beeping and will begin when it's nearing that whatever setting you set. And in my case, I set 8%. You can play around with it. I think it goes up to 15 or 20. I've tried 10, 12, 15, and I find it beeps too much. It notifies you too much. So I found that 8% for me seems to work out. So what else? The set button. That's where you set the spec you're looking for. So it might be 140, say if it's for my truck, lug nuts. You might set it for 80 if you're working on like Honda and its lug nuts. But whatever the setting is, let's just say 140. Hit the set button, it saves it, and then that's what it's set for. So now I'm going to show you this in action, and then after that I'm going to summarize by telling you what I like and don't like about it. So here I've got the Acura TL axle nut. I've replaced it, so I need to torque it down. The setting for this particular vehicle is 181 foot-pounds. So I'm going to set that here. $181 it is. Here are the Acura TL lug nuts, and they should be torqued to 80 foot-pounds. I loosened those two at the top. I'm going to tighten them up just to show you how the torque wrench works. Again, got to turn it on. I'm going to set it to 80. Now let's get to work. $79.9. $81.2. So now you've seen the GEARWRENCH 1/2 inch 85077 digital torque wrench in action. You've seen how to configure it. Let me just finish off by letting you know the things that I like and the things that I don't like about this. And actually, speaking of like, just before that, if this video was helpful, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe so that you are notified about future DIY and tool review videos. So one thing I don't like is I don't like that you have to hold the power button down that long to actually turn it on. Minor annoyance, but also to turn it off, that's a really long time to hold it. And again, these aren't like deal breakers. It's just when you're trying to be efficient, these things just slow you down. The other thing you can probably tell that I didn't like was trying to set this is because of the increments of 0.1, it really does take forever, or at least it feels that way. It takes forever to get it to a particular setting, and then usually you've gone past that setting, so you have to go back, and then once you get near that, you've got to, you know, press it one at a time until you finally get there, whatever that setting is. I don't like that, especially if this is a torque wrench that you need to change the setting on often. And the very third thing, as you can probably tell, I don't like the beeping. It's actually super loud and annoying. Yeah, it's actually super loud and to the point where it does get annoying. So when I'm setting it, for example, it's annoying. So I'm going to cover that while I'm pressing it, just so I don't have to hear it beep all the time. And it's not really a beep, it's a chirp. And that's probably why it sounds a little bit more annoying than if it were an actual nice beeping sound. So that's about it. Those are the things that I don't really like about it. Now, having said that, this is definitely, this is for the DIY guy like me, for the home user, even if you do this somewhat professionally, like on a part-time basis, the price point and the functionality are still worth it. So this cost me $215 or so Canadian, and what I got out of it was, I think, pretty good value. If I wanted to buy the equivalent Snap-on, actually the Snap-on with the flex head is about $800, and that's a bit steep for a home DIY person like myself. With that in mind, I would definitely buy this one again. If I could give GEARWRENCH some feedback, it would be, don't go with the increments of 0.1, super annoying and takes forever. If you could, you know, make it in increments or 1, or make it adjustable so I can set my own increments. The second one is the beeping. It's just not a good sounding beep. It's a chirp, and it's just in your ear all the time because you have to press it so many times. That's about it. So overall, you can determine if this is right for you. Overall, I do like it. And like I said, there's a few annoyances, but those aren't deal breakers to me. I get a lot of use out of these 1/2 inch digital torque wrenches, and so I thought I would shell out just a little bit more to get a good quality one that is not a click type, and I'm liking it overall. I hope this video was helpful, everybody. Take care.